Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Austrian Oak who went from flexing muscles in Mr. Universe competitions to flexing political power as California's governor. Known for his iconic roles, legendary one-liners,
I'll be back.
and some eyebrow-raising career choices, Arnold has given us plenty to talk about. But guys, let's be real. Even the Terminator has had his fair share of WTF moments. From questionable movie roles to political gaffes, here's a look at everything that makes Arnold both epic and, well, hilariously imperfect. Sorry to interrupt, but Arnold Schwarzenegger thinks you'll be back, as long as you hit that subscribe button right now. The infamous "I'll be back" line. I'll be back, the iconic catchphrase from the Terminator movie that was cool the first time, but has since been squeezed dry across every action film Arnold has touched. Sure, it's legendary, but do we really need it shoehorned into everything? By now, it feels like Arnold's less of an action star and more of a walking meme generator.
I'll be back. Ha! You did not get to say that, did you?
That's what you always say.
I do?
Maybe next time he could try, "I'll be back" with some new material. The real kicker is that the line has even seeped into his public appearances and political speeches, making it a catchphrase he can't seem to escape. What? The Governator? Arnold going from bodybuilder to action star to governor of California is like a real-life plot twist no one saw coming. And while the Governator had some wins, let's not forget his political career had more bumps than an off-road race in a Hummer. California's budget was a mess when he left office, and some of his policies were, shall we say, questionable. At least he didn't try governing with catchphrases, or oh wait, maybe he did. Though his tenure did see some environmental progress, critics argue that Arnold's political inexperience showed more than his famous muscles. Camel punching in Conan the Barbarian. In Conan the Barbarian, Arnold randomly punches a camel in the face. Sure, it's fiction, but it's still a moment that makes you wonder who thought, hey, you know what this epic scene needs? A camel punch. Maybe that was just Arnold flexing his dominance over everything, even desert creatures. What makes this scene even more bizarre is that Arnold's camel punching ways didn't stop there. He revisited this odd behavior in Conan the Destroyer. Guess camels just aren't safe around Conan, or Arnold, or the Governator, or whatever. The Arnold and Stallone feud.
It's unbelievable. Look at this knife. But this is not a knife. But this is a knife.
Back in the 80s and 90s, Arnold and Sylvester Stallone had a rivalry so intense it almost seemed like they were gonna brawl on the red carpet. But no, they just traded insults, mocked each other's movies, and basically turned Hollywood into a macho showdown. Thankfully, they buried the hatchet eventually, but for a while, it was like watching two jacked-up action stars fight for screen dominance. The feud even extended to competition over box office earnings, with both men scrambling to outdo one another as the ultimate action star of their era. On which side are you? Team Stallone or Team Arnold? Let me know in the comments down below. The Maria Shriver incident. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The affair that rocked his 25-year marriage to Maria Shriver. Turns out Arnold fathered a child with the family's housekeeper, which took "I'll be back" to a whole new level of awkward. The scandal was front-page news for weeks and pretty much cemented his spot in tabloid infamy. His career survived, but his marriage didn't. Ouch. It's one of those moments that tarnished the larger-than-life persona he had built over the years, showing that even the mighty can fall prey to their own human flaws. That time he was drop-kicked and barely flinched. In 2019, a fan at a South African sporting event attempted to dropkick Arnold, and it went about as well as you'd expect. Arnold barely budged while the guy who did it looked like he hit a steel wall. It was like watching someone try to push a freight train with a feather. Totally futile, but pretty funny in hindsight. Clearly, even at 72, the man is still built like a tank. Good for you, Arnold. Bodybuilder to actor transition. Arnold's jump from bodybuilding to acting? Well, it's legendary. But let's not pretend his early performances were Oscar-worthy. Remember the blockbuster Hercules in New York? Probably not, and neither does anyone else. And there's a reason for that. They even dubbed over his lines because apparently nobody could understand his thick Austrian accent.
Fine chariot, but where are the horses?
Still, he somehow turned all that into a career, so credit where it's due. From wooden acting to mastering the Hollywood blockbuster formula, Arnold showed that you don't need to be Shakespearean trained to dominate the box office. Sometimes you just need muscles and charisma. The Arnold Stogie obsession. Do you know what Bill Clinton and Arnold have in common? No? Well, let me tell ya. The love for cigars. Arnold's cigar habit has basically become a personality trait at this point. The guy's been puffing on stogies for decades and once famously refused to quit, even when Maria Shriver asked him to. Because nothing says healthy lifestyle like smoking cigars while also being a fitness icon. Well, you win some, you lose some. He's taken it so far that cigars have become part of his branding, with numerous interviews and social media posts featuring Arnold posing with his stogie. If there's one thing he's consistent about, it's his love for cigars. Arnold's love for Hummers. Speaking of contradictions, Arnold's love for Hummers feels a bit off when you consider his later attempts to rebrand as an environmental advocate. It's like the guy's saying, save the planet. But first, let me drive this massive gas guzzler to the nearest climate rally. Maybe he missed the memo that Hummers and environmentalism go together like oil and water. While he did convert one of his Hummers to run on hydrogen, it's hard to shake the irony of the situation. Saving the planet one gas-guzzling mile at a time, Arnold style. That thick Austrian accent. You'd think being the governor of California would require you to at least pronounce the state's name correctly, but Arnold never quite got the hang of it.
California.
California is California.
California.
The state of California. 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 California.
His accented version of California became a running joke, and honestly, after a few years, you just had to embrace it. Maybe it's the accent, or maybe Arnold just didn't care. Either way, it's classic Arnold. His mangling of the state's name became so iconic that it ended up being one of the enduring quirks of his political career. Something even his critics couldn't help but chuckle at. The girly man comment, not so funny. During his time as governor, Arnold thought it'd be hilarious to call his opponents girly men.
Economy, I say, don't be economic girly man.
Borrowing from an old SNL skit. Turns out that joke didn't land so well in the political arena. The backlash was swift, with people accusing him of sexism and homophobia. Who knew that 80s humor wouldn't hold up in the 21st century? It became one of those moments where Arnold's action hero persona clashed awkwardly with the more nuanced expectations of today's political arena. Arnold's dismal role as Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin. What happens when you take one of the most badass action stars and dress him in a glittery ice blue costume? You get Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin. The movie was an absolute disaster failure train wreck, banana peel slip, fumble fiesta. Well, you catch my drift. Anyway, Arnold's floptastic performance didn't help. With lines like, "Let's kick some ice," you could almost see the cringe on the audience's faces.
Let's kick some ice.
Even Arnold has admitted the movie was an Arctic meltdown. However, the movie has since achieved a sort of cult status for its sheer campiness, proof that even terrible movies can find their niche years later. His undying push for the Terminator franchise. Arnold will forever be known as the Terminator, but even he should have known when to call it quits. After Terminator 2, the sequels went downhill fast. By the time Terminator Genisys hit theaters in 2015, it was clear the franchise had jumped the shark. And yet, there was Arnold, still delivering his classic lines like nothing had changed. Maybe it's time to terminate the sequels for good. It's a case where nostalgia has kept the franchise alive far past its expiration date, with Arnold continuing to anchor films that likely should have been left in the 90s. That time he flirted with running for president? Yes, there was a time not so long ago when people seriously talked about Arnold running for president. The only problem, he wasn't born in the United States, which makes him ineligible. But Arnold being Arnold, He toyed with the idea of amending the Constitution to make it happen. Because why let a little thing like the law get in the way of ambition? It's one of those ideas that sounds like a plot from one of his movies, but also reflects Arnold's endless drive for bigger, more audacious goals, even when they're legally out of reach. Arnold's awkward bodybuilding poses. Arnold's bodybuilding poses are iconic, and sometimes hilariously awkward. Sure, they're part of the sport, but watching him flex and stare at himself in the mirror for hours? A little narcissistic, don't you think so? Then again, when you look like a human action figure,
You are not you. You're me.
No shit.
You know who I am?
I've seen you before. You're the asshole on TV.
maybe you've earned the right to admire your own reflection. His iconic posing helped cement bodybuilding as a global phenomenon. But it also gave us plenty of moments that teetered on the edge of comedic, especially when viewed outside the world of fitness competitions. The weird quotes, Arnold's philosophical side. If you've ever heard Arnold in interviews, you know he's got some, let's just say, interesting philosophies. From proclaiming milk is for babies to describing workouts as akin to a certain adult activity, Arnold's brain seems to operate on a different level. Whether you find his quotes inspiring or just plain odd, there's no denying that Arnold is always 100% himself. His off-the-cuff comments often leave fans both entertained and puzzled, making him a constant source of unintentional comedy in interviews and public appearances. Rebranding as a fitness guru on YouTube. Arnold's foray into YouTube as a fitness guru is equal parts inspiring and awkward. Sure, the advice is solid, but watching him try to fit into the influencer mold feels a bit like your grandpa trying to explain TikTok. It's cool he's still promoting fitness, but the slick YouTube style doesn't quite match the guy who once told robots, "Hasta la vista, baby." Still, his genuine love for health and fitness shines through, even if the modern format doesn't seem like a natural fit for the former bodybuilder turned actor turned governator. Arnold in a zombie movie minus the action. In the movie Maggie, Arnold plays a father caring for his daughter as she slowly turns into a zombie. No explosions, no machine guns, just Arnold being sad and serious. While it wasn't a terrible movie, let's be honest. When you see Arnold in a zombie flick, you expect him to be mowing down hordes of flesh-eating zombies, not delivering emotional monologues. Talk about misleading expectations, right? Fans who were used to seeing Arnold take down enemies with brute force were left scratching their heads at this moody departure from his usual high-testosterone action roles. The muscle statue. Arnold's bronze statue of himself flexing his muscles in Columbus, Ohio, is, well, Arnold at his finest. It's like he looked at his legacy and thought, you know what this world needs? A giant statue of me flexing. It's hard not to laugh at the sheer Arnoldness of it all. Humility was never his strongest flex. The statue stands as a tribute to his bodybuilding achievements, but it also feels like a massive literal monument to his own ego. Because what's more Arnold than immortalizing yourself in bronze? The Expendables cameos. Arnold's brief cameos in the Expendables series felt like nostalgia bait, but they also seemed half-hearted. Instead of bringing something fresh, Arnold showed up, cracked a few recycled jokes, and then peaced out. It was cool to see him and Stallone together, but let's be real, it was more about collecting a paycheck than making a meaningful contribution. Though fans loved the reunion, it was hard not to notice that Arnold's appearances were more about revisiting old glories than delivering something genuinely new or exciting. Arnold's confusing social media persona. Arnold's Instagram and X accounts are a strange mix of wholesome dad vibes, fitness tips, and the occasional flexing session with his donkey. It's jarring to see the same guy who starred in Commando now feeding carrots to a horse while offering motivational speeches. It's a vibe, but it's definitely a confusing one. His posts reflect a softer side of the action star that fans never got to see during his Hollywood heydays. But they also remind us that Arnold contains multitudes, some more unexpected than others. The environmental hypocrisy. It's great that Arnold's become an environmental advocate, but the fact that he's been flying around in private jets for years doesn't exactly help this good cause. Preaching about climate change while jetting around the globe feels like a bit of a contradiction. Still, at least he's making an effort to change, even if it's one small step for the planet and one giant flight for Arnold. He's since attempted to offset his carbon footprint, but the irony of the situation is hard to overlook, given the environmental message he's been pushing. Arnold in Jingle All the Way. Remember Jingle All the Way? This movie is one of those Christmas movies that's so bad it's good. Watching Arnold frantically search for a Turbo Man doll for his son is peak holiday chaos. But let's be real. Casting a muscle-bound action star in a feel-good Christmas movie? That's like casting The Rock as the Tooth Fairy. Oh wait, they did that too. Maybe Christmas just brings out the weirdest in our action heroes. Even years later, the movie has a strange cult following, cementing its place as a holiday guilty pleasure despite or because of its absurdity. Playing a pregnant man in Junior. Arnold as a pregnant man in Junior is something. It's one of those roles where you wonder if anyone in Hollywood actually thought it through. Watching Arnold waddle around with a baby bump is both hilarious and bizarre. And while it was meant to be a comedy, it just ended up as a strange fever dream. Maybe some things are better left unmade. Junior remains one of those 90s oddities that nobody quite knows what to do with. Yo, if you have seen the movie, then give us a thumbs up. And there you have it. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Larger than life, endlessly entertaining, and far from perfect. Whether he's blowing up bad guys, running a state, or just flexing his muscles for the world to see, Arnold proves that even legends have their flaws. But let's be honest, those flaws are part of what makes him so iconic. That's it, guys. Do you want to be cool as Arnold? Then hit that subscribe button and we'll see you back in the next video.